First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakak, Wadash. Yahweh is to this world ignorantly calls God. Yahweh Shai is to this world ignorantly calls Jesus. Bahashem means in the name. Rakah means spirit, and Kodash means holy. And that's all in the Paleo Hebrew. Also, to give double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Today's lesson, I wanted to talk about this show right here, which came out recently on Netflix, and going into how power is coming to the Israelites. Okay, and this show is a perfect example of that. Right, this show is a perfect example of that because in this show you pretty much have a bunch of Jakes. Right, if you really lock into what's happening, only the Jakes, only the so-called Negroes, okay, in this show have powers. Okay, and here you see these people all here are the main characters. They all have powers. Okay, and that's already spiritual in itself. Okay, and the kingdom to come, and even before the kingdom, the Israelites, starting with the true believers, are going to receive spiritual power. Okay, and I'm gonna go into the scriptures to prove that. But this show, it shows you, right? This woman right here, she had the telekinesis, being able to move things with their mind. This guy right here, he had pretty much the flash abilities of being able to run super fast. This man right here had the ability to look into the future. This man that right here had the ability to pretty much become invisible. And the other man, he's not really showed here. If you go into the cast, it would be this guy right here. And he had the ability of pretty much like super strength. Okay, and everything we saw right here in the kingdom, every single Israelite is going to be able to do all these things and more. Okay, because we are going to be gods, essentially. Okay, we're going to receive new bodies with the law, statutes, and commandments inside of us, and we are never going to die again. And another thing I found hella spiritual is that they also showed you the curses. Right, I never really realized this, but hey, what it goes to show that the so-called Negroes are the true Jews, right? The true people of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai is because even those Jakes over there in the UK, they Slovakia, even those Jakes over there in the UK, they're doing the same thing that the Jakes over here in America are doing, right? These so-called Negroes over there are still running around on that gangbang mentality, right? Brother killing brother, okay? Constantly thinking about selling drugs, okay? Just thinking about violence, okay? And ultimately being in a demonic spirit, right? Same thing that's happening here is happening over there, which goes to show you that what's the common denominator? That these people are Israelites and that they are under the curses, right? Yahweh Bashim Yahushai told us that, hey, these curses were going to be upon you, right, and unto your seed, okay, forever and ever, and it was going to be a sign and wonder unto us, right? All these curses are supposed to be a sign, okay, of what our forefathers did. And no matter where you go in the earth, right, the curses are going to follow you if you are an Israelite, right? Things are not just going to go out perfectly. Also, another thing I found spiritual was this woman right here. Right, she was a nurse, and her sister, right? Her sister was in that feminist boss bitch mentality. Okay, and that's the same thing we see here in America. Okay, that goes back to the curses. Okay, it goes back to how in Jeremiah, where it talks about how the woman shall come past a man, and how that's gonna be a new thing, right? And pretty much she had this woman right here, her sister, which was pretty much demonic and trying to influence her, right? Telling her, "Fuck that nigga," right? Why you still with him? Is that really your man? What else? Go to the club with me, right? Always on that violence, right? There was a scene in the show where they're at the club and the sister was trying to get us some action, talking about don't talk to me crazy like that. I'll fight you right now, right? All these fucking uh, Israelite women, they got that masculine spirit on them, right? Completely out of order, right? So hey, there's a lot to take out of this show, and it's highly spiritual. But the point I want to really hit today is that power, right? Power is coming to the Israelites. Okay, first we'll start with the fact of First John chapter 3 and verse 2, right? Because in the kingdom, right? In the kingdom and before the kingdom, we are going to be pretty much in this estate, powers. Okay, this is First John chapter 3 and verse 1. It says, "Behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us, that we should be called the sons of God. Therefore the world knoweth us not, because it knew him not. Beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it does not yet appear what we shall be. But we know that when he shall appear, talking about Yahushua the Messiah, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. Right? Because when Yahushua comes back, and he's coming back in his glorious angelic apparel. Right? He's coming back. Scriptures talk about how he's not coming back as a man. Well, I'm gonna pull that after this, but the point I wanted to establish is that we shall see him as he is. He's coming back in that angelic figure, and we're also going to be like that when we see him, right? It talks about how in the twinkling of an eye, right, at the last trump, we shall be changed, okay? And death is going to be a thing of the past, right? In the twinkling of an eye, we are going to become immortal and become like Yahushua. Okay, so right there, that's already spiritual power. Pretty much everything he can do, we're going to be able to do it also. But let me get the scripture I was quoting. Is Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 1. I started to go to verse 3. It says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. This is talking about America here. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind meal. Uncover thy locks and make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh and pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. Right, this is going into how America, right, is ultimately going to be discovered to be a wicked ass nation. Okay, all the lies, the deception that has been happening for years upon years, it's right now it's being revealed. And as time progresses, more people are going to get hip to what's really going down. More people are going to get in tune to who's really ruling the earth, right? Those so-called Jewish, right, which are really Edomites. It says, I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. Right? This is talking about Yahushua. When Yahushua comes back to bring judgment upon Babylon the Great, aka America, he's not going to meet these Babylonians as a man. He's coming back in that angelic body. It says, as for our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Right? Talking about a Yahushua. Okay, so that's the point going back to 1 John chapter 3 and verse 2, going into how we shall be like him when he appears. Right? So right there it's talking about spiritual power. But now to really get specific, let's keep on going. This is Isaiah chapter 59 and verse 19. It says, so shall they fear the name of Yahweh from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him. Okay, and this is talking about the time of Jacob's trouble, right? When the enemy comes in like a flood, right? You see martial law, martial troops, right? NATO troops, the UN troops, going downtown, going through neighborhoods, right? Door to door, banging, trying to find people, sending people to concentration camps, right? People getting persecuted just for their beliefs. That's the enemy coming in like a flood. It says, when all these things shall happen, the enemy coming like the flood, the spirit of Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him. Right, so the Lord is going to lift up a standard against our enemies. And how is that going to happen? It's going to happen by the way of the believers. Right, because the Lord is a just balance. Right, if you have wickedness increasing, that means that righteousness is also going to increase to the same balance. Okay, so the Lord is going to lift up a standard to be able, he's going to lift up a standard in the elect to be able to defend themselves against the enemy, against this wicked ass government, UN troops, okay, and the whole list. Okay, so extrapolating, this is talking about spiritual power, because how are we going to be able to fight against an AR-15 pointed at your head? Okay, you're surrounded by 20 troops. How are we going to be able to fight against that? Right, the answer is you really can't. Right, so we know that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, we're going to need that divine intervention. It all goes back to faith. But one more time it says, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of Yahweh shall lift up a standard against him. Talking about the elect being raised up. It says, and the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, saith Yahweh. Right, and that's talking about what we just read. Okay? It says, as for me, this is my covenant with them, saith Yahweh. My spirit that is upon thee, and my words which I have put in thy mouth, shall not depart out of thy mouth, nor out of the mouth of thy seed, nor out of the mouth of thy seed's seed, saith Yahweh, for henceforth and forevermore. Right, because this is talking about the second covenant. alongside us having those immortal bodies, the law, statutes, and commandments are going to be inside of us. And everybody is going to know the law, right? From the least to the greatest, every single Israelite is going to know the law, right? Brother's not going to have to teach brother, nor go down the list. Nobody's going to have to teach each other, right? But let's get another scripture. Let's get another scripture. It's Isaiah chapter 40 and verse 29. It says, He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might he increaseth strength. Even the youths shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. Right, talking about the day of Jacob's trouble. Right, young men are going to be out here completely going crazy, right, because they ain't got the Spirit of the Lord on them. It says, But they that wait upon Yahweh shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. Right, and this sounds like spiritual power to me, man. Mounting up with wings as eagles, right, running, not getting tired, right, walking, and not fainting. Hey, that sounds like spiritual power, right? Something we see out of this show, right? Technically, pretty much the Flash type abilities, okay? And it all goes back to faith, right? It all goes back to faith. Because, hey, whether it's spiritual power or not, we know that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is going to have to intervene in one way or another to have us survive in these chaotic times. So this is not far-fetched to even think about, okay? Because Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, he can do it all, okay? We have scriptures to back up this point. Let's get another one. In Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 3, and verse 7, it says, And in the time, let's start at verse 5. It says, And having been a little chastised, they shall be greatly rewarded, for God proved them, and found them worthy for himself. And this is talking about the elect. It says, As gold in the furnace has he tried them, and received them as a burnt offering. Right, going into how, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai has put the elect through all types of chastisements, trials, and tribulations, right, in order to try us, right, see if we're really bottom, see if we're really going to have integrity and stand stiff, right, proclaim his name among the nations, and stand stiffly for his name. So that's why it says, having been a little chastised, they shall be greatly rewarded, okay, because everything we're doing right now, if we were to able to envision and see clearly why we're doing this, hey, we'd be on fire 24/7, right? But hey, everything that we're doing right now is gonna pay off at the end, and it's gonna pay off big time. Right? How Shai said, hey, those that have abandoned a woman, right? Those that have lost children, okay, they're pretty much gonna inherit 100 times, okay? Roughly paraphrasing. So, having been a little chastised, they shall be greatly rewarded. It says, and this is the point. And in the time of their visitation, talking about Yahweh Shai visiting this place, they shall shine and run to and fro like sparks among the stubble. Right? So the same thing we just read. Right? Going into how when Yahweh Shai comes back, that spiritual power. Right? And in the time of their visitation, they shall shine and run to and fro like sparks among the stubble. Right? Like electricity, man. We're going to be out here moving like electricity. Right? Instantaneous. Okay? And that's pretty much those flash like abilities. Okay? Being fast as fuck. Being able to teleport. Right? That's not far out. It says, They shall judge the nations and have dominion over the people, and their Lord shall reign forever. Right? We are going to be pretty much the creme de la creme. We're going to be at the top of the world. We're going to be the ruling people forever and ever and ever and ever. And it's not going to change. This world is going to be ran in righteousness. It's going to be renewed. Okay? So, we got one more scripture going into spiritual power. This is Zechariah chapter 12 and verse 8. It says, And in that day, talking about Jacob's trouble, shall Yahweh defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Right, so this is talking about before Yahweh Shai comes back. Right, which that's why brothers talk about how, yeah, we're going to receive spiritual power on this side. Right, because it's 100% we're going to receive spiritual power in the kingdom of heaven. Right, when we have those new bodies. But before the kingdom of heaven, we are also going to have spiritual power. It says, In that day shall Yahweh defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem. What is he going to defend them from? He's gonna defend them from the elements. He's gonna defend them from these wicked ass niggas out here. Okay, he's gonna be guiding us. It says, and he that is feeble, weak among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God, as the angel of the Lord before them. Right? So the most feeble Israelite believer is gonna be as David. Right? What was David out here doing? Let's read it. This is 2 Samuel chapter 22 and verse 30. It says, for by thee I have run through a troop, by my God I have leaped over a wall. Right? And this is David pretty much talking about David. Right? So through the power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, David was out here being a mighty warrior. Okay, he was out here just running through people, straight strength. He says, by my power have I leaped over a wall. Right? He was able to jump over some gigantic walls. Okay, the men of ancient times are not the same men that we have today. Right? Not the same men at all. Those men probably had testosterone levels up in the 2000s, the 3000s, 4000s. Right? Today, the average testosterone level is 500. Right? So that just goes to show in itself. Right? So, everything David did, like it. Everything David did, another story, right, was, what's his name? Not Samuel, but, well, how did I forget that? Bible, long hair. Samson, another story was Samson. Right, how Samson, let's get that one. Let's get that account. Right, Samson was pretty much fighting the Philistines. And it says, right, it says, I'll start at verse 12. It says, Judges chapter 15 and verse 12, and they said unto him, we are come down to bind thee. And this is talking about the Philistines coming to Samson, trying to pretty much throw him into prison, that we may deliver thee into the hand of the Philistines. And Samson said unto them, swear unto me, that you will not fall upon me yourselves. And they spake unto him, saying, no, but we will bind thee fast, and deliver thee into their hand. But surely we will not kill thee. And they bound him with two new cords, and brought him upon the rock. And when he came unto Lehi, the Philistines shouted against him, and the spirit of Yahweh came mightily upon him, and the cords that were upon his arms became as flax that was burnt with fire, and his bands loosed from off his hands. Right, so he was tied up, right, with cords. Let me see if it goes into detail about that word cords there. Cords, rope, intertwined, branch. Let me see. Something interweaving, small rods. Right, so if it was holding him together, we had to assume that it was something strong, right? Some type of chain or something. Right, let me see the root word. Just dense, thick, intertwined. Right, so he was bound tight, but it says that the spirit of Yahweh came upon him, and he pretty much loosed those bands easily off his hands. And he says, and he found a new jawbone of an ass. Right, he found a jawbone of an ass, which is a donkey, and put forth his hand and took it, and slew 1,000 men therewith. Right, so Samson had the power that with the jawbone of an ass, he slew 1,000 men. Right, with the jawbone. That's how strong he was. It says, and Samson said, right, this is pretty much, just imagine it. Right, Samson, he was pretty much mocking him. Samson said, with the jawbone of an ass, heaps upon heaps, with the jaw of an ass have I slain 1,000 men. Right, so here it is. Samson is pretty much, he's mocking him. He said, I just whipped a bunch of niggas with the jawbone of an ass. Right, you can't touch me. Right, get off of me. You gotta really envision it. Right, the same way our people are today, that's the same way they were back then. That's just Samson pretty much mocking them. Okay. And it says, and it came to pass when he had made an end of speaking, that he cast away the jawbone out of his hand, and called that place Ramath Lehi. Okay, and that point was that, the power that Samson had. Right, so we have accounts in the scriptures about how the Lord gave several men spiritual power to be able to defend themselves, and that same type of power is going to come back today. So let's go back to Zechariah. It says, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David. Right, being able to run through a troop, run through several men, being able to jump over a wall, right, strong as fuck. And it says, in the house of David, this is talking about the 144,000, the prophets, shall be as God, as the angel of Yahweh before them. Right? So the prophets, right, the servants, are going to have an even greater power. Right? We're going to be as gods. Okay, and that word God there goes into the Hebrew word Allahayim, right, which goes into rulers, judges, divine ones, angels, gods, a god-like one, right? That's what we're gonna be. We're gonna be like a god-like one. We're gonna have works or special possessions of God, right? We're gonna have a powers pretty much. Okay, it says as the angel of Yahweh before them. So this is talking about before we are in the kingdom of heaven, right? Before we're in the kingdom of heaven, the Lord is going to raise up a standard, okay, and the elect are going to receive that power to be able to defend themselves. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. Right? The Lord is coming back to judge all these other nations for what they have done to the apple of his eye, right? The nation of Israel. So, there we got a couple scriptures proving the point about spiritual power. Here we have one of them talking about mounting up with wings as eagles, running and not being weary, walking and not fainting. Here we have another one talking about in the day, in the time of their visitation they shall shine and run to and fro like sparks among the stubble. And another one talking about how the most feeble is going to be as David, and the house of David shall be as God. Okay, so spiritual power is in the scriptures. Okay, and this show right here is a foreshadowing of that, right? The Israelites are going to receive their power once again. So hopefully this is edifying. With that, I give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahushai Ba'Shem, Rakak Wadash, and double honors to the elder bishops and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Shalom to the elect, Shalom.